Subscribe now to get the latest ancient history news and independent research from around the world. For me, Saxe-Human has been a strong line of research for the past couple of weeks, and as I continue to dig deeper into this ancient enigma, the more I'm being blown away. Saxe-Human is quickly becoming my very favourite ancient architectural wonder. There really is something about it that sets it apart from everywhere else. It's apparently a religious military construction, a site of water management, wells, springs, reservoirs and irrigation. It's a site of incredible stonework and mind-boggling feats of engineering, easily one of the most elaborate constructions in human history. The earliest Spaniards saw it as a fortress, mainly because of the huge walls that would have been seen as defensive to the Europeans. But chronicler Pedro César de Leon saw it differently, noting that it was a house of the sun with a clear ceremonial and religious function. He saw the military aspect being mainly symbolic, and it's possible that ritual battles took place here. This week I've been looking through the earliest sources available from the Spanish chroniclers of the 16th century. But then I also discovered the original archaeological excavation reports from the 1930s. The findings are really fascinating, and I've come to realise that so much important information, as well as the opinions of the lead excavator, have been lost through time. Make sure you stick around for the second half of this video, as I pick out some key points from the earliest archaeological reports, and also show you some fascinating rare photographs, many of which haven't been seen for 90 years. I do feel it's important that I bring this information and the associated old photographs back to light, to make them accessible to a wider audience, so we can all learn something and try and take the subject forward in the 21st century. For now, I'll start at the beginning with the earliest description of Saxe-Human, and this comes from Pedro Sancho, the secretary of Francisco Pizarro, as he paints a truly incredible picture. He says, "There is a very beautiful fortress of earth and stone with big windows that look out over the city, and make it appear more beautiful. In it there are many chambers and a main round tower in the centre, made with 4 and 5 stories, one on each other. The rooms and habitations inside are small, and the stones of which it is made are very well worked, and so well placed next to each other that it seems they do not have any mortar, and the stones are so smooth that they seem to be prepared boards, with the junctures against each other like that used in Spain. There are so many habitations and the tower that one person cannot see it all in one day, and many Spaniards who have seen it, who have been in Lombardy and other foreign kingdoms, say they have not seen another construction like this fortress, nor a more powerful castle. 5,000 Spaniards might be able to fit inside. It can't be attacked or undermined because it is located on an outcrop. On the side facing the city, there is only one wall on a rugged mountain slope. On the other side, which is less steep, there are 3. One higher than the other. These walls are the most beautiful thing that can be seen of all the constructions in that land. This is because they are of such big stones that no one who sees them would say that they have been placed there by the hand of man. They are as big as pieces of mountains or crags, and they are some 30 palms high and others as wide, and others 25 palms and others 15, but none of them are so small that 3 carts could carry them. These stones are not flat but very well worked and fit together. The Spaniards who see them say that neither the Bridge of Segovia nor other constructions of Hercules or the Romans are as magnificent as this. The city of Tarragona has some works in its walls made in this way, but they are not as strong or with such big stones. These walls have curved, so that if one attacks them, one cannot go frontally, but rather obliquely with the exterior. These walls are of a similar stone, and from wall to wall there is so much earth fill that 3 cars cannot pass on top. The walls are made in the form of 3 levels, and one begins where the other ends, and another begins where the last one ended. This entire fortress was a great storehouse of arms, clubs, lances, bows, arrows, axes and shields, heavy jackets of quilted cotton, and other weapons of different types. And there was clothing for soldiers, all collected here from all areas of land subject to the lords of Cuzco. There were also many pigments, blues, yellows, browns and others for painting. There was cloth and much tin and lead and other metals, and much silver and some gold. So, that's the end of the quotation, and it certainly paints quite a scene, starting by describing the buildings on top of the hill with windows that look down onto Cusco, buildings that have been dismantled and destroyed, the stone used by the Spanish.
Yo, what's up?
It describes the large central tower.
What's up? Hello, Ariana here.
Pedro
Hello.
Pizarro mentions there are in fact 2 tall buildings.
Welcome.
Caesar de Leon also said there were 2, but one was larger than the other.
Is that?
Others say
I think it might be a bit too loud.
With the round one being the largest. Pizarro also mentions the guards who looked after the stock materials, including a large supply of tightly woven cane helmets and a set of litters for carrying around the lords of the empire. Stones used to make Sacsayhuaman are of course amongst the largest of any Inca site, but reports vary as to which king was responsible for its construction. Pachacuti and Thupayupanqui are names usually cited by chroniclers and scholars, and the 16th century Spanish landowner, friar, priest and bishop Bartolom Las Casas, as well as Caesar de Leon, say the site was never completed, an opinion that seems to be confirmed by the study of Jean-Pierre Prosson in the 1980s. Another chronicler, Garcilaso de la Vega, said the site took 50 years to construct but was never finished. How it was built has always been a mystery. Chronicler Gutierrez said stones were pulled into place using ropes made of vine and hemp. This is probably because the Spanish soldier Diego de Trujillo saw large buildings full of ropes, some as thick as a leg, and said they were used to pull stones to make buildings. But according to John Hislop's book on Inca settlement planning, the great secret of the construction of Sacsayhuaman is not ropes or a mysterious technical practice, but rather the rotation of the labour supply, which provided the enormous energies that were needed to erect the walls and the buildings. According to Caesar de Leon, Inca Pachacuti ordered 20,000 men to be sent in from the provinces, and the villages had to supply the men with food.
I don't know if you're going to be here, but it means
so that person could be sent home and the work was not
getting
stored.
something that's on my mind.
He states that these 20,000 men
like off my chest, you know, like off my back, off my chest.
But only for a limited time. As workers left, others came, so that work did not become onerous. He says 4,000 men quarried and cut stone, 6,000 hauled them with great cables of leather and hemp, others dug ditches and laid foundations, whilst others cut poles and beams for the timbers. These people lived in separate groups, each with those from their own region, next to the site they were working on. Overseers went around watching what they did, as well as master masons who were highly skilled in their work. There is no actual evidence that Sacsayhuaman was ever used as a fortress, except of course during the siege of Cusco in 1535 when the Spanish occupied the region. Therefore the role of the monument is still unclear today, but most say it had some religious ceremonial function as well as being a place for storage. It obviously did have a religious function, but I also think its major
I am
importance
35
was
years old.
water, feeding the surrounding lands and the city, which I've been discussing in recent videos. Even though it was pretty much connected to Cusco, some believe that Sacsayhuaman was an Inca city in its own right. So, that's some background, and it's important to understand how it looked and was perceived by the earliest Spanish conquistadors and chroniclers. But I had also been looking for the earliest archaeological reports on the site as well, because that would take this study to the next level. After much digging, I came across the work of Louis E. Valcasel, who was on site in the 1930s excavating Sacsayhuaman, as well as the area to the north where we find the Cocachincanas Basin. He calls this region Sachuna. Today, these reports are pretty much lost on an obscure website, and are then further lost inside 300 to 400 page journals about South American archaeology. Being a Peruvian historian, Valcasel also wrote the papers in Spanish, So for me, who isn't multilingual, they're not the easiest to search and translate.
How old am I? I am 35.
The spelling of Saxaple Man is also different.
35 years old.
The file size was also so big that I had to cut the documents into chunks, upload each segment to Google Translate, and then and only then could I read the earliest archaeological reports on Saxaple Man. And well, I have to say they are amazing. For the rest of this video, I'll give you some of the key points to take home. But for me, what was so fascinating was that in the 1930s,
I hope you're good. How old are you? I look good, thank you.
Based on field observations that line up with my own independent work that I've been presenting in the past few videos. And that's the importance of water, the recent destruction, and how the different types of stonework are all likely part of one project. Not by two different cultures that are separated by hundreds or thousands of years. It seems the first clean-up operation at the site began at the end of 1933 and early 1934. Valkersel describes Saxaple Man as a complete ruin, as shown in this incredible picture. I have a picture of the same section of stonework.
Oh, that's sweet.
Today,
that's so kind of you. Thank you.
Them side by side, you can really see the
I appreciate that. It is my girlfriend in the photo. Just FYI.
All the information given,
In my profile picture. I appreciate that. That's sweet though. I want to let you know that. But I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Do you work out too? Are you in the fitness streams?
And these provided water
it's okay if not. It's okay if you don't.
Saxaple Man. He found Inca ceramics and also copper and silver objects. He also found a broken case that was cut into a quartz block with 6 cylindrical compartments drilled into it. Each compartment contained a powder of different colours, 2 of which were intact with their entire contents. These colours were the famous Inca dyes. Now, this large central feature on top of Saxaple Man Hill, he says
super honored though. Thank you so much.
I really am honored. Very pure water, which was also referred to by the chronicler Garcilaso de la Vega. De la Vega said that this water was brought from far below ground, and the Inca could not say where it was from, because these things were kept secret. He also said that kings lodged inside the tower in their own compartments, and that the walls were adorned with gold and silver, and decorated with animals, birds and plants. From this reservoir or water tower, various channels distributed water to other buildings of Saxaple Man. These aqueducts followed an intriguing system with a series of settling wells, vertical conduits, curves and jumps. He believed there was some industrial purpose behind it. He explained he could see how the water got out of the central tower, but he doesn't
Zachary,
know how
what's
it
up?
got in a structure at the very top of the hill. Either there is some incredible engineering bringing water from afar, or there was a natural spring at this location. This man-made reservoir is estimated to have had a capacity of 47,000 litres of water.
Zachary, haha. No worries.
He next looked at
gotta be honest, you know. Gotta be honest with the world.
He says that this too was endowed with water through exquisite stone channels underground, and communicated with the large central tower by passageways and stairs. There is apparently a third tower as well, but at the time it was unexcavated.
That is very kind.
He states that all the exposed walls of these features are made with a regular shaped stone with perfect joints, what I called the watertight masonry in my previous videos. It was masonry with a function, and the Spanish took the masonry from Saxaple Man Hill and used it for building projects in Cusco. The author says that this stonework was used because the Spanish wanted to keep the new projects in line with the original Inca architectural style. This was interesting because it means that some of the polygonal masonry walls in Cusco could be of Spanish origin. If the Spanish removed the stones from Saxaple Man in a systematic way and restacked them.
Yeah, that definitely felt like floating LOL, to be honest.
In my last video, I also stated that the different types of
my
masonry
chest,
of
okay.
Saxaple Man, whether field stone stacking or polygonal walls with large or small stones, could all be the work of one culture. Different stones for different uses, and doesn't have to imply that
there's
it's
work
the work of different cultures.
At work that's been really pissing me off, and I got really frustrated today, and I got frustrated with my boss when he was right.
Valkersel also came to the same conclusion. He says it was common.
And then I just wrote an email apologizing and being like I was defensive. I got angry in a defensive state. So I feel better after doing that. That's off my chest, I guess.
He says the rediscovery of Saxe-Hall Man does debunk these assumptions. I guess if he has excavated this site's foundation levels and below, observing the relationships between stones and their functions, he is probably better educated than anyone to make this assertion, even if it is just his opinion. The whole site is carefully and meticulously planned. He notes protective flooring in various places to prevent leaks and also to stop water damaging the structure. He states that in the rainy season, this protective paving would have been an extremely important feature. There are also thick layers of gravel added to the floors on the platforms between the main outer walls, and this was done to protect them from the weather. This is a gravel-lined alleyway between two perimeter walls, lined on either side with polygonal masonry. We also know that the entire hill of Saxe-Hall Man was designed to allow the systematic drainage of excess water from the top down. There is a master plan to this entire site, and I do believe it really is one construction project. As we can see from this amazing picture, Saxe-Hall Man is in a far worse state than we see today. Many of the blocks in the polygonal walls have been carefully put back together in the 1930s, so much so that you can't really tell what's a repair job and what's original, since the blocks fit together so well. This stonework we can see here is modern renovation work, laid hundreds of years after the Inca period, and this was done to tidy up the site. You can see it all along the walls of Saxe-Hall Man. This is shown when you compare the 1930s image with the modern one side by side. You can clearly see where the walls have been built up recently with inferior stone, to stop soil creeping down the hill, to protect the site and make it safe for tourists. As stated, the polygonal megalithic walls were
gotta go have fun working out. You do that more, have fun to blow. Yo, thanks.
Many large blocks on the ground. The large stones in the backfill behind the walls could be because the modern restorers didn't know where the polygonal wall block went during restoration. The fact is, if you look at the walls of this structure today, you are looking at how it was restored in the 1930s. I know there is a lot of information in this video, but I think it is extremely helpful to understand the site. Valcasel next goes on to explain the area around Cocachincanas, and this really is the icing on the cake because he gives so much information about how this site really was all about water, just like I said in my previous videos. Again, I'll give you a brief overview. He names the region the Sechuna sector of Saxe-Hall Man. The type of masonry and hence the age of construction at this location is very similar to the main Saxe-Hall Man site, but it differs in that the bastions follow the irregular projections of the rock. On uncovering the archaeology on this side of Saxe-Hall Man, Valcasel concludes that this region as a whole is without doubt.
What will I do? I will play GoldenEye 007 on the Nintendo 64.
With its 3 overlapping circles, and says that beyond the top one are enormous structures.
It's a video game. It's a Nintendo 64 video game where you go around and shoot people. It's in the title.
Calling it a hydraulic system.
GoldenEye 007.
Distributed on different planes, eventually discharging into a large pond. We now know that with further excavation,
with Brazilian funk, yeah, maybe.
Draining the water from this region into
maybe.
a large Cocachincanas reservoir. He also mentions there is an opening
I do like the funk.
Underground labyrinth, which I think are subterranean water channels. At the time, though, these were unexplored. To the southeast of Cocachincanas,
MC Colibri,
small rooms, channels, retaining walls, or
MC Maiquinho,
and also a fountain. AKA
do I have TikTok? I don't. I don't.
This confirms my suspicion.
Do you have TikTok? Sounds like you do.
Also the site of the spring. He calls this region the Inca Baths, with a series of carved seats, platforms and so on, and he knows pools or wells inside the massive limestone as well.
Do you enjoy Brazilian funk?
This region, which was the subject of
Did you have coming to Uganda or Tanzania?
Devil's Pulpit, which may indicate a significant religious side to the Inca, especially if Spanish Christians.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
It may also explain why it's been so badly damaged.
I did not understand.
He explains that at this location, there is a small amphitheatre that receives water from the west, through a channel that previously went through two basins, likely destroyed when the rock was blown up.
Brazilian funk. Visiting Tanzania? No, I haven't been. I've never been to Tanzania. I'm guessing you're in Tanzania?
Dynamite and other explosives have been used. So, that's about 60 pages of information that I've condensed into a few minutes of a video. But I wanted to pull out some key points and present them to you. And there really is so much more I could say. What the information in this video shows is that the entire site of Sacsayhuaman, both the north and south sides of the open plain, were strongly connected with water.
How about African?
Water is the key to understanding the importance, function and prominence of Sacsayhuaman, and many of the most important features of this site were clearly built with water in mind. It is a breathtaking construction project.
Yeah, in my profile picture,
really is the work of
that's my
But how old is it?
It's my girlfriend. She's actually from the Congo. I've never been to the Congo. I've never been to Africa, but let's play some Brazilian funk.
Well, it all shows that this is likely
That's cool. So you're in Tanzania? That's amazing.
Maybe started by the Proto-Inca Quilque culture, but maybe with the bulk of the work done by Inca Pachacuti. I can't see much reason to doubt it. Sacsayhuaman really is one of humanity's greatest ever feats of construction.
Where I live in Canada.
If the Inca did build it, they need to be remembered as master stonemasons, master architects, and masters of agriculture and irrigation.
It's Brazilian funk. Coisa linda. Can I dance? I can't. I can't do that. I can't be doing that. I'm sorry. No, I lived in Brazil. I lived in Brazil for 4 years. Come on. Alright, just a bit, sure. I can't. Oh, I can? Oh, thank you. I can't though. I can only do what's fair I can only do so much that my girlfriend knows, and it's fair, and she's okay with it. You know what I mean? I'm a fair guy. I'm an honest guy. I see some man shake it. Wow. I'm an honest guy. The Latino, nice. Yeah, nice. I'm half Lebanese. I'm Lebanese, Canadian, Scottish. Try it. I can't. No, I can't. Can't. Sorry. I'll do a set. I'll do a set. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. That's so sweet. I'm Lebanese. Yeah, half Lebanese, half Canadian. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Sabe conquistar meu coração, coisa linda, gostosa, tipo modelo e chama atenção, joga beijinho, me instiga, sabe conquistar meu coração. That's thank you. You're so kind. You're so kind. Oh, thank you for following me. That's so sweet. That's so kind. Alright, let's do another one. I gotta find it. Let's see. I gotta find it. I can find it quickly. You're welcome. One more song. Did I have pack? What's pack? What's the pack? Oh, thank you. You're so kind. So kind. Oh, come on. Okay, what's like? Oh, thank you. You're so kind. I'm kidding. Oh, thank you. You're kind. Alright, just one more bit. Okay, that's it. No, thank you. No, thank you. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. I'm so flattered. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Can I show you back? No, I can't. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. I can only do what I would want my girlfriend to do for others. So I can't do that. No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. No stress, no stress.
Empina, vai, se movimenta, empina, vai, se movimenta.
Yo, stretch. What? Get out of here, stretch. No fucking way. Get out of here, man. Buddy, what? I knew it was you. I knew it. I'm like, stretch. But I'm like, stretch 99. What's up, Shazad, man? What's up, man? Yeah, yo. What's up, man? How you doing, dude? Yo, thanks for freaking tuning in, buddy. LOL, not much. Didn't think I'd get it. Oh, the thing? Yeah, well, I saw stretch and I'm like, Yo, that's amazing, man. Yo, what's up, Shazad? How you doing, man? Fucking found me, dude. Well, I wasn't hiding from you. I'm glad you found me, buddy. How you doing? Mike's Parbu follows me too. Sexy girl or smart? Wow. Both. I like both. Yeah, Parbu. Both. Yeah, Parbu, man. How you doing, man? Yeah, dude, I guess I got into weightlifting a bit. Black is sexy. Black is very sexy. I haven't seen Mike in forever? Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time either. Wow. Oh my gosh. Woo! I'm kidding. Wow. Woo. I'm sweating. Yo, what's up, Shazad? And Ariana? You know they're big. Oh, wow. Sure. And sexy for sure. I should have to go right now. No worries, buddy. Catch you later. Yo, thanks, man. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that, man. Catch you later, dude. Add me on Facebook if you want. I heard you got married, buddy. Congratulations, dude. Yo, that's so good to hear from you, man. See a stretch? Nice. Cool vibes from Ariana. I would say black is beautiful, but all types are beautiful as well. Oh, here we go. Back to the video.
Led to the development of high-energy runoff capable of washing away 10
you can say
including iron crowbars. Yes, storms of Giza can be that intense. But despite the ferocity, within a short distance of washing through the camp, the water found the lake in a hollow behind the Sphinx. Lexius even said that the lake had no outlets, indicating that this runoff
that's true.
reached the Sphinx enclosure.
But I also think, black is beautiful, for sure.
The hollow described by Lepsius can only be the quarry originally worked by Khufu. And yes, they were quarried during the reign of Khufu, as there are mud seal impressions bearing Khufu's name inside the quarry, indicating that these quarries were there before Khafre. Remember, although some geologists do disagree, Colin Reeder, like Robert Schoch, is convinced that the only way for the natural joints on the western enclosure wall to become so deeply scoured and the bed so heavily rounded is from high-energy water runoff, which we now know could not happen after the pyramids were built.
My girl, she's
the degradation of the Sphinx could be done in dynastic history, and that it would not take a great deal of time. But Reeder points out the 26th dynasty tombs that are cut into the western enclosure wall and are still so fresh that ancient tool marks are still seen, showing that in the last 2,000 or so years, the so-called salt and chemical weathering processes, as well as low energy
I'm going to do a set for Shazad and for Ariana.
To sufficiently erode the limestone of the Sphinx enclosure. It hasn't even removed the ancient tool marks. This shows that another ancient process did affect the western enclosure wall.
Sure, I'll say black. My girlfriend is black.
Water runoff. And as Reeder has shown, such runoff
very
had to have occurred before the pyramids were built.
Very blessed.
But all this still means that the bedrock ramp or roadway beneath the Khafre causeway does predate the Sphinx enclosure, because it forms the southern enclosure wall. It was quarried right up to it. Reeder has no problem with this, as he explains there is evidence of activity at Giza going as far back as the late pre-dynastic, to the Mahdi culture, which I'll be discussing in a future video. Reeder believes the bedrock path below the Khafre causeway could well have been an ancient early dynastic ceremonial walkway or road of some kind, reused by Khafre in the 4th dynasty to build his causeway. As I explained in a recent video, there is a trench that is dug into the northern side of the causeway, which Shudan says channel water into the Sphinx enclosure.
Was I married before? No, I was never married. I'm not married. I was never married. How about you? What's your taste? What's your preference? Were you married before?
But offering a different view, Reeder says there is no consensus on the function of the ditch. Yes, it could be for drainage by design or by default, but it could also have been a boundary marker. If it is a drainage channel by design, why didn't Khafre just drain the waters into the quarries to the north and south of the causeway? Why deliberately channel the waters into the Sphinx enclosure? The only rainwater runoff that this channel would direct is that from the western end of the causeway, so the waters could have easily been directed into the quarries protecting the Sphinx if Khafre's architects chose to do this. There is even more supporting evidence that Reeder produces for a pre-4th dynasty Sphinx, including a less weathered 4th dynasty
Me too, I think so too.
I think so too. Number 1 limestone on the Sphinx enclosure's northern wall, proving that the eroded enclosure predates the Pyramid Age. There is also the recutting of the top of the Khafre causeway, truncating the deep runoff erosion fissures that came before and that we can see continue onto the southern enclosure wall. The flow diagram using the original Giza topography is the hard scientific evidence I was personally looking for, and together with the eyewitness account of the lake that formed in the quarry and the lack of surface runoff coming out of it, as well as the lack of logic in creating a water channel to erode the Sphinx enclosure, well, at this stage I'm sold. The Sphinx does predate the pyramids of Egypt, and therefore, by default, so does the first phase of the Sphinx temple. The bedrock walkway beneath the Khafre causeway also predates the pyramids, and as Reeder also speculates, it is likely that the megalithic proto-mortuary temple at the western end of the causeway does as well, the place where the causeway leads to.
I found a very black girl. Oh wow, very nice.
Some even speculate there was an earlier structure beneath the Khafre pyramid, and I have shown in previous videos how it could have been enlarged. I still believe the pyramids as we see them today were created in the 4th dynasty, but I'm
guessing you are a black girl from Tanzania?
The earliest archaeological finds at
my gosh.
Giza are 4 well-preserved jars from the late pre-dynastic Mahdi culture. Apparently
talking about my girlfriend, both. both.
which experts believe were funerary in origin and not indicative of a settlement. Therefore, Giza could have been a more ancient necropolis and ritual landscape way before the 4th dynasty, as I alluded to many months ago. I am still working on my idea that the original Proto-Sphinx is this image on the Narmer palette, which is said to represent the Horus kings from the south conquering the people of the Delta, the northern Madi culture. But is this really just a hieroglyphic depiction of the Delta people as Egyptology tells us? Or could it actually be a real physical symbol of this culture? A depiction of a large rock-cut statue dedicated to their king or maybe a god? Could this be the original Sphinx before the addition of masonry in the Old Kingdom turned it into a lion? I'll discuss all this and more in a future video. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
Both. Sorry for the question, no worries.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe now to get the latest ancient history news and independent research from around the world. I know that a couple of researchers and YouTubers, NEXT and Ben at Uncharted X, are both planning on making videos on the Sphinx, so I thought it was worth republishing 2 Sphinx videos that I made last year. In this video I put those 2 older videos into one. What I'm showing you are rare Sphinx excavation photographs from the 1920s, 1930s, 1970s and the 80s. The first set of photographs are from the 1920s and 30s, and were taken during the excavations led by Emil Baresi, where some of the worst restoration work took place, including filling up any gaps by pouring cement and changing its form forever. The second set of photographs come from Mark Lehner, and they date from 1979 to 1982, and were taken as he was writing his dissertation, which is now available to read online. You may see many things you've never seen before, and if you do spot any interesting observations, please do comment below. So, without further ado, here is an Ancient Architects Sphinx photo special that I put together for you.
My girlfriend's, so I guess black. gosh. Oh my goodness. Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing. That's great. Really? Congratulations. That's amazing. Yeah, I bet. It sounds very, very beautiful. How about me? What do you mean? What do you mean by how about me? Just wondering.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe now to get the latest ancient history news and independent research from around the world. At the site of Zayat al-Sultan, 6 kilometers southwest of El Minya in Middle Egypt, along the east bank of the River Nile, ancient quarries lie within the limestone cliffs. Here you'll find an incredible relic of the ancient past, something that is so rarely spoken about, an object that most people don't even know exists. Yet, for anybody with an interest in ancient history, ancient technology and ancient architecture, this certainly needs to be on your radar. It really needs to be spoken about more widely and studied. I've got to thank my friend Ludovic Sell for pointing me towards this incredible ancient wonder, which was posted on Facebook by the Journal of Ancient Egyptian Architecture on April 22nd this year. Links to Ludovic's social media channels are linked below in the description. So, what are we looking at? Well, still situated inside an ancient quarry are the remains of an enormous unfinished statue. A huge block of limestone 22 metres or 72 foot long and 8 metres or 26 feet in width. Before we go further, let's put this into perspective. The stone of the pregnant woman at Baalbek is 20.5 metres long, 4 metres wide and 4.3 metres in height. This stone in Egypt is longer, wider and taller. It is larger than all of the monolithic blocks at Baalbek, including the larger ones that are situated close to the stone of the pregnant woman. Based on the rock type and dimensions, some speculate that this block in the quarry at Zayat al-Sultan could weigh more than 2,000 tons, which means it's also heavier than all the blocks at Baalbek. After spending a while on Google Earth, I've located the block and I've put the coordinates in the description below. I also must apologise for the fact that the majority of the images in this video are black and white, but that's really all that's available as far as I can see. The focus of this video isn't a well-known subject. Interestingly, the outline of a statue of a king is faintly chiselled onto the block, and so we know that this stone was being quarried to make what would have been one of the largest and greatest colossi of ancient Egypt. This site really is an invaluable reference for the ancient Egyptian construction processes, And if anyone is serious about wanting to know how the Egyptians carved enormous blocks of stone and the processes and techniques involved, this really is a great starting point. So, what do we know? Well, there are vertical separating trenches on all four sides of the block, each being around 8.5 metres deep and 50 centimetres wide. The bedrock has natural fissures located along the vertical separating trenches. What this implies, and what the experts believe, is that the ground surface was first cleaned and levelled to identify natural fissures, which could be exploited to make the stone easier to excavate. The early stages of work are these vertical separating trenches, as well as 2 ramps to allow easy access to the site. Foothold holes were also dug in multiple places as a secondary route to get up and down the rock face. This site is also interesting because we also get an idea of how they planned to get the rock out of the mountainside. Multiple vertical separating trenches were excavated on the eastern side of the Colossus, so the excess rock could be removed to somehow eventually lever out the Colossus. Of course, exactly how they would get a 2,000-ton statue out of the hillside is not yet understood, but these features here must be related to the removal process. It is also important to note the proximity to the River Nile, which would have been between 500 and 1,000 metres downhill to the southwest, depending on the height of the river at the time of the quarrying. Interestingly, a low horizontal tunnel, passage or cavern with a ceiling height of around 60 centimetres has been dug underground beneath the boulder, and here the relief of a colossus has been chiselled onto the block. This passage was dug to separate the colossus from the bedrock. Here we can see the floor plan of the underground area. Rooms A to D immediately under it support the huge rock with the columnar wall that remains at the southeastern corner, with only 3 cross walls remaining. There are also regularly spaced out double course stones put in place as the rock beneath the colossus was quarried away. On the ceilings of rooms A to G, there are many red lines, as well as Demotic and Greek graffiti said to be from the Ptolemaic period. Before the graffiti was discovered, it was assumed that this was another Amenhotep III Colossus, but the language, style and content of the graffiti, as well as the pottery discovered, have led experts to now believe that this work is Ptolemaic. There are more than 100 examples of graffiti, including writing, numbers and quarry marks, and they all seem to be construction related, and therefore they are contemporary with the excavation work. As many of you know, the Ptolemaic period of Egypt was between 305 and 30 BC. Obviously, we don't know
like my girlfriend,
this colossus was stopped.
big size. Do I like big? I like my girlfriend's.
Else they wouldn't have started the project in the first place.
I like my girlfriend has a big butt, and I like that. I like my girlfriend's.
In origin, to build the Temple of Jupiter sometime after 16 BC. Many that don't believe the official view argue that there simply wasn't the technology to move a block that weighs more than 1,000 tons.
I don't talk about. I'm kidding. Oh, okay.
It looks like the Egyptians were
It's like, you can't. I can't talk about that.
Of course, you can say they were unsuccessful because, well, the block is still inside the quarry. But there is no evidence.
I'm sorry, that's not nice. That's not nice. I don't want her talking with anyone, right? So I gotta. I'm a fair person.
I can't pretend to know how the Ptolemaics intended to move it, and I don't know how much research has been done at this site since papers were released in 2006 and 2008. But I would say that this could well be a very important site to help us understand not just how the dynastic Egyptians cut and moved enormous blocks of stone, but it could also tell us how it was done at Baalbek. I'm currently trying to contact the people that have worked on the site, and if they can provide any further details, if they have translated any of the writing, and if there is any further information on the construction process, and also any clues on how they intended to move it, I'll be sure to report it here on Ancient Architects. So, in summary, we know that we have an abandoned Colossus statue with vertical separating trenches dug around it, and these exploited natural fissures. There is an excavation tunnel underneath it, with hundreds of examples of workers' graffiti that were written in the Ptolemaic period. We can see that the rough shape of the Colossus was etched onto the stone, showing that this work is dynastic, and preparation was also underway for the stone's extraction.
I'm honored, I'm flattered,
on the eastern side,
right? But I can't, you know,
it's not,
I can't talk about that, you know.
Interestingly, the statue is thought to be one of a pair, because we find another unfinished Colossus 1.5 kilometers south of the Akoris city ruins in what is known as the South Quarry. This was excavated using a very similar style and technique, and is slightly larger, measuring 24 meters by 9. And, by all accounts, it was abandoned at a similar time during the excavation process. There were no traces of red lines or graffiti as seen at the first statue, and it's possible that this site was slightly behind the one at Zayat al-Sultan. Ptolemaic pottery has been found at both sites, but as of 2008, work was still ongoing and I'm yet to find out any more information. Technology is a hot topic in the study of the ancient world. And so, this quarry in the heart of Egypt is certainly a place we really need to focus our attention on a lot more. We have all seen the famous unfinished obelisk, many of us have made videos on it, but this site could really help us get further to the truth, and help us to understand the incredible and seemingly impossible stoneworking techniques of the ancient world. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
I'm almost done though. I'm almost done the workout. I might do a bench press and then maybe a bicep curl, but I'm pretty much done.
Behind a rectangular structure that contains 3 baboons sitting in profile. It's a picture that Manu Safzadeh and Robert Schoch believe could be a pre-4th dynasty picture of the Great Sphinx, before the head was carved into a human. Shur lived in the 1st dynasty of ancient Egypt, around the mid-31st century BC, which means that if this ebony tablet is indeed showing the Sphinx, the ancient carved monument certainly predates.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one more bench press and one more bicep curl. Thank you.
Was the Sphinx originally a lion? Was it a jackal or a mound of rock with a hawk's head on top? Whatever its original incarnation, I believe that in this video we can show that the Sphinx is pre-4th dynasty, but because of its relationship to other structures at Giza, it also means it can't be the oldest monument on the plateau. In this video, due to a lack of evidence to the contrary, I'm going to have to assume that the 3 main pyramids of Giza are all 4th dynasty constructions. And that's not because I have conclusive hard evidence, because I agree that, especially...
Yo, I'm still here. Yo, thanks. Do I have Discord? I don't have Discord.
To call it 4th dynasty,
I don't really use Discord.
But it's based on the fact that most
Sorry about that.
family and high officials
I'm not even lying. I think I have an account, but I don't have access to it, and I don't even use it. Because the email,
we also have the controversial graffiti in
the confirmation email doesn't go to my email, it goes to a different email. I gotta fix that, but I don't use it really anyway, so no worries, thanks.
Causeway, as well as the finds associated with the excavations in the 1930s, which include a Khufu inscribed mace head. So yes, saying the Giza pyramids.
I'm guessing you're in Tanzania. That's amazing. That's very cool. That's so cool that you tuned in and you follow me. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. That's very cool.
And also because there is no geological, archaeological, or historical evidence to say that the pyramids are older. But pyramids aside, and there are a handful of structures that could be pre-4th dynasty.
Are you Tanzanian?
The Great Sphinx and its enclosure for one, but also the bedrock pathway or road or foundations beneath the Khafre Causeway, the Valley Temple, the Sphinx Temple, the Khafre Mortuary Temple, and the first phase of the Tomb of Kenkawas and the Tomb of Kai. The latter two both display the palace facade style of decoration that we don't see in 4th dynasty monuments at Giza. These two structures could certainly hold back to early dynastic history. I'll do a separate video on the Tomb of Kai in the coming weeks. The subject of a pre-4th dynasty Giza gets very complicated very quickly, and I'll try and explain why. To say the Sphinx is older than the 4th dynasty due to the weathering we see on its enclosure has huge implications for other Giza structures. Mark Lehner has shown how the blocks used to make the Sphinx Temple directly to the east of the Sphinx were cut from around the monument. He can trace the various types of limestone that made up the Sphinx to the Sphinx Temple, which means the temple was likely built at the same time as the Sphinx. Or maybe
I'm sorry, I can't.
after.
LOL.
But due to the relationship between the Sphinx Temple and the North Enclosure Wall at the Valley Temple of Khafre, we know that the Valley Temple came before the Sphinx Temple.
Oh, I'm kidding.
It
Okay.
has what Egyptologists call enclosure walls to the north and to the south.
You never know.
Interestingly,
That's why, yeah, right. I want to say that I'm take it serious. No worries, no worries.
Meaning that these walls butt up against the granite casing.
Yeah, I'm a faithful guy, right? I'm a faithful guy. What can I say?
The northern enclosure wall into its structure. Therefore, we see a number of phases.
I don't have only no worries,
Phase
no
1
worries.
was building the Valley Temple out of limestone. Phase 2 was casing it. Phase 3 was adding the enclosure walls to the north and to the south. And Phase 4 was building the Sphinx Temple.
Whew.
The evidence that the Valley Temple predates the Sphinx Temple is compelling. But Egyptologists
Thank you for being here.
Too much time between the two.
Thank you. Hello, Ariana here.
That time scale
Very nice name.
I'm more interested in a specific order, and I'll
If you
explain
want to see
why.
my big booty, you should pay. Wow.
If the Valley Temple came before the Sphinx,
I bet you do have a big booty. I bet it's but I'm as I've said many times, I have a girlfriend. No worries though.
It was cut up to a pre-existing
Yeah,
roadway
bet you do.
that connects to the Valley Temple.
But I love my
A
girlfriend
roadway that
and
was later built
I'm
on
happy
and
with
turned
her.
into a causeway that led to the Khafre Pyramid.
Thank you though. I'm so honored, so flattered. I'm so like blessed and flattered.
Which, from looking at the evidence,
But
was the first
again,
thing
I
there.
only say
And it
things
seems
that
to be purposely avoided
are
by
fair, that my
builders
girlfriend
of
would be
the
okay with me
Great
saying, right?
Pyramid,
Of
as the
course,
pyramid quarries don't cut across the
because
road.
I want like the
It's clear
equal
they were trying to
golden
avoid
rule,
it.
right? I'm an honest guy.
So, we know the Valley Temple and the road below the Khafre Causeway came
Oh my
first,
gosh, wow.
followed by the Sphinx and the Sphinx Temple. And so dating
I
the Sphinx
only want to see
correctly
my
and accurately
girls.
is key to understanding the
My girls
earliest
black.
history of Giza. If somebody can geologically
bet,
date
yeah.
the Sphinx to the
Okay,
reign of
I gotta
Khafre,
go though.
then
Thank you
that
so
would really
much
help the
for being here. You're
orthodox
so kind. You're so
Egyptological
kind.
timeline, because Egyptologists
honored. I gotta
place
go,
the Valley
though.
Temple and the causeway
Take care. Thank
into
you for the
Khafre's
follow.
reign. And
Thanks,
because of
Shazad, for
this,
being here.
They also placed the Sphinx
kidding.
and the Sphinx Temple during his reign. Then there is the possible mention of Khafre on the Dream Stealer, the statues of Khafre.
Don't take
in
it
the
seriously.
Valley
No worries,
Temple,
no worries.
And some say we are looking at Khafre's face on
No
the
stress.
Sphinx.
No stress.
The archaeological observations do seem to marry up with the historical
Nice to be here.
timeline.
Oh, nice. Cool.
But
Nice that you're
geology
here.
is the main
Appreciate it.
problem
Very
for
kind.
Egyptology.
I'm so
Researchers
kind.
and
Oh, you're so
scientists
kind.
like Robert Schoch and Colin Reeder are causing a huge headache for Egyptology, because even though they disagree on the specific erosional mechanisms, they both agree that there is
Appreciate
more than
me.
enough
Wow,
evidence
that's
to
nice.
say the
I appreciate
Sphinx is
you.
older
Yeah.
than Khafre's reign. Which means
For
the
sure.
Valley Temple, the road beneath the Khafre Causeway, and
That's
the
kind of
Sphinx
you.
Temple also came
Not my
before
bad
Khafre
chat.
was king and built a pyramid.
No stress. No stress.
Now,
It's
there
what
is
people
a
do
less
with,
controversial explanation
you came
for
from
what
a
we
like
see,
a
and it comes from the
state
work
of
Jean-Pierre Houdin.
of honesty, and I responded in a state like nothing happened. Well, I responded honestly, right? We both responded honestly. We're in both different like positions but we both responded honestly, so it's fair. Actually, it's not funny.
Blocks to the area around the King's Chamber by exploiting the natural topography of Gyges. So yes, this means that there is a good reason why the road beneath the Catholic Causeway
I gotta go though. I gotta eat dinner. It's not funny. I shouldn't type it. Yeah, well, I mean, you can type it if you want, right? It's up to the person. It's up to me how I am, who I am, how I respond.
This would
appreciate
imply
Twitch
that the Valley
rule.
Temple was perhaps in its first incarnation a building for administration. Positioned
Have a good
right
evening.
on the
Thank you.
harbour
Yeah, I gotta
during
go.
the reign of
I gotta eat
Khufu,
dinner.
where the boats
My
landed
folks.
with the large granite
Okay.
stone from Aswan.
Thank you. You rule.
If so,
you. Have a good
it
evening
also
yourself.
implies that
So
Khufu
kind.
could have created the Sphinx and the Sphinx Temple, or maybe it was
Hey, don't worry.
Catholic.
You were honest, and I was
But
honest. So
did this really happen? What does
like
the
this is gonna
geology
be
show?
online like forever also. So
Colin
no
Reader
worries.
believes the erosion we see on the Sphinx enclosure walls
don't know each other.
was
No
the
worries, no
rainwater
stress.
that ran off the Giza Plateau, which does make sense in my opinion as a graduate geologist. And even though there was
exactly.
a Great Pyramid quarry directly due west of the Sphinx, as the diagram shows,
Okay.
I don't think
I
that
do have
this
to
would
go, though.
prevent the rainwater
Thank you.
from washing into the Sphinx
Thank you.
enclosure. It would cascade down into the quarry and then further down
Bye,
into
Anna.
the
See
Sphinx
ya.
enclosure.
Bye. Thank you.
As I've mentioned in previous videos, the Old Kingdom was a time